Hi, I am Dr. Jacob Larson, and this is Read, Write, and Cite, the channel where I teach you how to read, write, and cite for your college classes. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to find sources when you can't find sources. So, this is something that a couple of my classes right now are really struggling with. You know, students have been digging in to try to find some scholarly articles, articles in academic journals for this paper that I've given them, and they've spent a lot of time on this and they're just not making any progress. So I want to talk about what to do in that situation. Okay, I've had another recent video where I talked about kind of how to go through the process, how to use a site like Google Scholar to find things. This is a little bit different. We're talking about kind of your strategy for how to search. Okay, so I came up with 5 things. The first thing you need when you're trying to conduct a search, you're using an online database like JSTOR, EBSCOhost, Project Muse, Google Scholar. If you're using something like this, you have to, 1, know what you're looking for, right? This is really important, and I mean, it goes without saying, but I mean, really understand what you're looking for. This starts with having a really clear thesis for the paper that I assume you're writing. So I think a really great way to make sure you have a specific topic is to make sure you have like 3 layers of specificity, okay? And let me explain what I mean by that. Right now, my students, they're writing about poems, but they need to focus on the literary elements in the poems. So what do? Well, come up with 3 layers of specificity. I'm going to talk about theme in Robert Frost's The Road Not Taken. So 3 layers of specificity. You know which element you're going to talk about, who the author is, and what the poem is, right? So that also gives you 3 different places to look. You can look up theme as a literary element. You can look up Robert Frost. You can also look up that specific poem, right? That's what I mean by 3 layers of specificity and how that helps you when you know exactly what you're looking for. You have different ways you can attack it. You can, with those 3 things in mind, then you can make sure you're rephrasing things. If the way you're phrasing it isn't finding what you want, then maybe you need to figure out how other people would phrase it, not the way you would phrase it, and go on from there. Okay, so that was number 1. Number 2, you've got to be specific in your search. Previously talked about you need to use Boolean operators. What does that mean? Boolean operators are like when you use quotation marks so that you're looking for a specific phrase in your search, or you're thinking about which keywords might show up in the paper you're trying to find and putting those in your search as well, right? Grammar, asking the actual question isn't necessary for these databases. You want to be specific in your phrase. So again, if we're talking about theme in Robert Frost, The Road Not Taken, I can search in quotation marks The Road Not Taken and Robert Frost outside of the quotation marks. What that's going to do is it's going to tell the search engine, look for this exact phrase, but also these words. The reason why you don't put Robert Frost in quotations is because sometimes he might appear as R. Frost or just Frost instead of that specific phrase. And if you put it in quotation marks, it's telling it look for it this way and not another way. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's one strategy. But let's say you know that you want to find. You're going to discuss theme, right? But what you don't need is to find a paper that is the paper you're going to write, right? You don't need to find someone who's already done what you're about to say. You need to find information that's relevant to your paper. So finding another paper that discusses theme in depth, maybe even theme about poetry, that's probably good enough. because what that does is it gives you some well thought out words on the topic. You can then apply them to your paper. This is kind of the benefit and kind of the point of research, is to find the information that's out there and apply it to a new topic that's still relevant, but apply it. And that's how we create kind of synthesis with our stuff. Okay. All right. Number 3, use abstracts. Okay. Many, if not most, scholarly articles will have an abstract at the beginning. This is when you open up the PDF or the website or whatever, at the very top, right under the title and whatever information it has there, before the paper starts, it's going to have a section. It's going to look like a really big paragraph. That's called the abstract. Don't just skip over that. The abstract is there for you to speed up your research process. The abstract is a summary, if you will, and it says all the main points and the big ideas in the paper. So, obviously, when you're scrolling through your search database, you're looking at the titles, you're looking at the authors, you're looking at the years, and relevant information like that. And if you find a title that sounds like something that would work in your paper, great. Open it up. If there's an abstract, read that. Because that's going to tell you whether you need to keep reading or not. Whether you need to waste your time reading a whole paper, which could be, 20 plus pages, only to find that there was nothing in there for you. So, again, remember, number 1, know what you're looking for, but once you have something, know whether you found it or not, right? Your abstract is going to be a good summary, and if it's not sounding like it's your topic, okay, maybe you keep track of that. Maybe you save that somewhere because you can go back to it later, but just keep going. Go find the next abstract, until something looks like it's a hit for what you need, then go. Now, sometimes what you need, you're going to find in a paper about something else, right? We already talked about maybe you search a topic that's tangential but relevant to your paper. And even though it's not about your poem, for example, or your whatever you're writing about, you might still be able to apply the information in it towards yours. If you're looking at an abstract and it's not clear whether something is relevant to you, there may still be a benefit to actually reading the paper, because you might find one solid paragraph that is just like, boom, it's exactly the information that you need. But the whole paper isn't about it, so it wasn't clear from the abstract that it's about you or about your topic that you're going to write about. So with our example, if we're talking about Robert Frost's poetry, specifically Theme and The Road Not Taken, I might be able to find a paper that's about another poem that he read or wrote about Theme that's relevant, and I can take that information and apply it. Or I might find someone who wrote a paper about someone completely different. They mention Robert Frost, and so he might show up as a tag or a keyword underneath the abstract, and that'd be a giveaway, and that might be why the database finds it for you, even though the title is not clear and the abstract isn't clear, because he's not the focus of the paper, but he is mentioned in the paper. It's looking for those little hidden nuggets that takes time, but sometimes that's what you got to do if you aren't finding what you need some other way. Okay, so last but not least, be willing to use more than one source if you can't find just one source that does everything you need, right? So in our example, we talked about kind of 3 different ways to approach the topic. Maybe you find a source that's about Theme. Maybe you find a source that's about Robert Frost, and you only find one that really fits what you want for The Road Not Taken. Well, you've got 3 relevant sources. Use them. Use them consistently. Use them throughout the entire paper, but use them for what they're good for. Maybe at the beginning when you're introducing that you're going to talk about Theme, bring in that source about Theme. Maybe later when you're talking about Robert Frost and how Road Not Taken is a good example of say the rest of his poetry talk about Robert Frost. And then maybe then you use your meat and potatoes article that's just about this poem. But now you've got 3 sources backing up what you have to say about a poem, and you're getting the job done. Even though each may only cover it a little bit, all of them together really back up what you have to say. And this is something I think that's really important for students to kind of get. When you're looking for a source, you're not finding someone to replace what you've already said or what you're going to say, because then what you're about to write kind of doesn't matter. They already said it. You're not just looking to repeat what someone else says. You're trying to add something to the world, and you're using them to justify, see, they agree with me. Does that make sense? I hope that this was helpful. Again, those 5 things. Know what you're looking for. Be specific in your search. Use abstracts to speed up the process. Be willing to read the article to find the hidden nuggets, and be willing to use more than one source. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If there's a video you'd like me to make specifically for a question, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to make something that would help you specifically. So thank you for watching. I'm Dr. Jacob Lauritsen. This has been Read, Write, and Cite. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.